Ukraine is giving a hard time to the Russians. It seems that Putin is throwing everything but the kitchen sink at his invasion effort, but it seems that nothing is really working in favor of the Russians. In this time of need, Putin's strategic allies, including Belarus, are abandoning Russia. In this video, we will talk about how Russia is quickly being left alone because of its highly unpopular Ukraine war campaign, so stay tuned. But before we continue further, I would request you to subscribe to the channel. Thank you. So as most of you know already, Belarus is one of the most closely aligned states with Russia. But as of recently, there have been disagreements between Lukashenko and Moscow about the war in Ukraine turning out. Specifically, Belarus is asking for a ceasefire in the region while Moscow wants to press ahead until it has completely invaded Ukraine. One thing that Putin did not count on is that the people of Belarus are actively supporting Ukraine. Not only this, but there is a growing anti-Russian sentiment brewing in Belarus as well, which can be witnessed in the form of blowing up of Russian bases and barracks in Belarusian territory. There is a lot of tension between Russia and Belarus right now. Ukrainian soldiers are on high alert too at the moment on their border with Belarus. Putin was very confident that if the war in Ukraine did not go in his favor, then he could always count on the support of Belarus. However, it seems that Belarusian people are not very keen on taking orders from Russia. The reason is that Russian and Belarusian armies are not going along very well. It seems that things will not fall into place and Russia may enter into yet another conflict with another of its so-called allies. This would be very demoralizing for the Russian troops since they would feel abandoned by their Belarusian comrades. The main reason for this mistrust can be related to the superiority attitude which Russians have shown over the years towards Belarusian soldiers. This has led to a widespread contempt towards the Russian soldiers, which can be felt by the trust placed by the people of Belarus towards their current military and political leadership. There have been reports of army deserters and people switching sides to fight for Ukraine's cause. It has now been confirmed that many Belarusian soldiers have joined the Ukrainian army to fight against the Russian army. There have been many recorded interviews which have shed light over the reasons for their abandoning their posts and joining the Ukrainian army. One such interview with the former soldier of Belarusian army indicates that there are many soldiers in the Belarusian army who feel that their war against Ukraine is unjust and will eventually lead to a rebellion against the Russians. Russia has clearly indicated that it aims to expand its area of influence in the region, starting from its most closely aligned states, which includes Belarus. Russia aims to do a military exercise in Belarus very soon. According to some reports, there are already some 12,000 Russian soldiers posted in Belarus. Reports also indicate that Russia aims to increase that number to 20,000 mobilized troops. Belarus is also under considerable pressure to send troops to Ukraine to assist Russians. Soldiers have been prepping for this military operation, and many doctors in the Belarusian army have already received their calling papers. However, the situation on ground is not as simple. Reports indicate that there already is quite a bit of reaction in the Belarusian army against Russian invasion of Ukraine. The pressure to put Belarusian soldiers on the Ukrainian front may spark a reaction which would undermine overall trust in the current military leadership of Lukashenko. The public already have registered their suspicions and their mistrust over the Russian campaign, and any effort to lead Belarusian soldiers into Ukraine may prove to destabilize the present regime. It seems at the moment that Putin wanted Belarus to take a more central role in its war against Ukraine, but Belarus is very hesitant in doing that. The reluctance seems justified because Lukashenko barely survived the anti-government protests back in 2020, and even the pro-Russian population of Belarus does not view the war favorably. Surveys indicate that at the very beginning of war, only 28% of Belarus's population supported the Russian campaign against Ukraine. In keeping with Russia's inability to conclude its invasion, the support in Belarus has now dropped to about 11%. Despite the imminent losses in both human life as well as material costs, the Kremlin has announced that it would station about 1.5 million troops in its bid to completely invade Ukraine and basically provide unlimited funds to that end. Very recently, Putin mobilized almost 150,000 soldiers for its war on Ukraine. Belarus is of vital importance if Russia wants to wrap up its military operations in Ukraine quickly. Belarus could provide the military and logistical support to launch a Kyiv raid, which could possibly end things sooner for Ukraine in 2023. But it does not seem that Russia can count on the support of Belarus due to the hike in ethnically charged rivalry between the two. Belarus did provide a lot of assistance to Russia in its offensive against Kyiv from February 24, 2022. But the odds of Belarusian and Russian soldiers uniting to launch a strike against the northern part of Ukraine seems very low. One reason is the growing mistrust, and the other is that Ukrainian soldiers are very well prepared to counter any Russian offensive. Ukrainian soldiers are receiving some of the best military equipment from the West, which has put Russian advanced military technology to shame. Do you think that Belarus will continue with its strategic alliance with Russia? Feel free to comment down below. Thank you for watching till the end, and leave a like for this video if you found something of value. Cheers!